Welcome to Duo Chats with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 11, titled Barefoot at Cape Fest. Air date January 12th, 2000.
And
Well, no, can
what?
you believe we're in 2000 finally?
Yeah, I know.
We're not in 99.
Whole new century.
Yes. And look, everybody survived.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the synopsis is
Dawson experiences an identity crisis. Yes. When Nikki, who happens to be Principal Green's daughter, arrives in Capeside and gives Dawson advice on being an inspiring director like her. Dawson won't open up to Joey about his parents' divorce. Meanwhile, during a weekend outdoor concert, Jack's first efforts to hit on another guy are rebuffed when the guy, Ethan, only wants to be friends. Elsewhere in the camp, Jen realizes that she may have passed up the chance at something special with Henry. Also, Pacey and Andie uncomfortably find themselves both taking part of the school play with Pacey as the leading role and Andie as the assistant director. So we started the episode off with Dawson and Joey at school. And then,
Yeah, so did you
yeah.
find it funny that Dawson and Joey were like, going to the film class thing because they had to go pick up whatever it was.
The camera.
And it was funny because Nikki's there checking it out, and Nikki hasn't checked out for 4 straight weeks.
Yeah.
I love that part because it means Dawson can't check it out.
Mm-hmm. And there was only a 1 week maximum, too. But somehow she got 4.
Probably because nobody else films. So the teacher was probably like, nobody uses this camera. You might as well use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what the teacher was thinking.
Yeah.
Plus, she is the principal's daughter, so she's going to get whatever she wants because the teacher is going to be afraid he's going to get fired if he says no to her. But I feel like if Dawson would have just told the teacher, like, hey, can I have this for like a week? I feel like the teacher could have separated it a little so that she wouldn't have it the whole 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But the problem is he didn't go to the teacher. He was just going to rent it on his own instead of going to the teacher. And wouldn't the teacher have said it's rented for 4 weeks?
Yeah.
So why didn't he just go to the teacher?
I don't know. We don't even see the teacher.
I know. I don't even know who the teacher is.
I wrote the name somewhere in my notes.
Yeah, but from season 1 teacher to season 3 teacher, there are 2 different teachers.
And then there's also Nicole for a minute, too.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Now.
So I don't know who the teacher would be if they even showed. Probably a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they go through a lot of teachers on this show.
Yep. And then Dawson's trying to, talk to Nikki about getting it sooner. And then
Of course, he's not going to get it sooner. She's making a film.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, her films are clearly better than his.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just liked when she said filmmaking is not fast food, Dawson. You can't rush it.
Well, I think that's where Dawson gets it wrong, is because his films are rushed and he doesn't take the time to actually write them and film them, where she's taking all the time in the world.
Yeah.
If it takes her 2 years, it takes her 2 years, but the film's going to be good. For him, he wants it done in 2 days. There's a difference.
Yeah, like we never really see him
finish anything.
Well, yeah, but we never see him like do a lot of prep either. Like we saw him type his
script,
like one script and that was it. But I feel like that would be a longer process, and they're showing it definitely.
Yeah, it would take at least a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
His was an episode, and in the episode, he was already filming.
Mm-hmm.
And that was only like a week-to-week process, so it took him half of a week to write a script.
Yeah.
Well, that must mean that your script really is bad, because I feel like the most successful writers take longer than a half a week.
Yeah.
To write a movie.
Even a short movie.
Yeah. And he's not accomplished, so yeah. And if he really wants to be a writer and director, he might want to work on that.
Because isn't this supposedly his 4th one now?
I'm not. Well, and that's just what we've seen. Who knows how many he's done before?
Yeah.
But obviously they're not that good.
Yeah.
because everybody has had problems with each movie. So when Jack and Jen are in the grocery store, I didn't like that the music, I don't know if it's because I'm old or whatever, but the music was like overpowering the scene. I couldn't really hear them talk. It was just too much like of the music. Like turn down the music or put no music in the scene, because it was very hard for me to understand what Jack and Jen were talking about because the music was just too much for me.
Yeah, it's probably because I have subtitles, so I can always tell what they're saying, but
I couldn't. I was like, don't know what they just said.
Yeah, there are some shows and movies that tend to do that for some reason.
But why would you do it? The scene did not need music.
Yeah, I don't know.
And plus, I just want to hear them talk. And what's wrong with Captain Crunch?
I didn't even write down the cereals, but yeah.
I didn't know what the first one was, but I was like, Captain Crunch? What is wrong with Captain Crunch? I love Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
I used to eat that as a kid, and I would still eat it now. Like, what's wrong with the cereal? Jen had an issue with the cereal. She made him put the boxes back. And I was like, well, first of all, she's acting like he's a little 2-year-old, that he's getting like stealing all the candy, putting it all in the cart.
Yeah.
And really? And then she was making fun of his, oh, you really are Andy's brother. And it's like, but what's wrong with Captain Crunch? That was the whole thing. I'm like, well, then I must be related to Andy and Jack too, because I like Captain Crunch.
I guess because she saw it wasn't healthy, so compared to the other cereal.
I don't care. Most foods are bad for you anyway. I mean, the stuff she probably eats are bad for you too. She just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, and I don't think we don't really see them eat anything really in the show.
No.
Anyways.
What's your favorite cereal?
It's like a tie between Fruity Pebbles and Frosted Flakes. Is Captain Crunch yours, or?
No, I like Apple Jacks.
And then Ethan walked in, the guy that Jack met on the train.
Did you like Ethan?
Yeah, but I felt like he was like kind of being vague with Jack and the whole thing. Like them getting to know one another, and then Jack ended up being let on without realizing.
Yeah, I didn't really like him in this episode. And plus, I mean, just because there's a gay guy in town, which keep in mind, Jack has said previously that just because there's a gay guy doesn't mean people need to set him up.
Right.
Well, again, just because there's a gay guy in town does not mean Jack should date him. You should get to know him before you date him, because maybe you don't like him.
Yeah.
Like his personality, or maybe he's just a bad person. You don't know, but yet Jack in this episode is like, acting like they're going to be together. Why? Just because he's the only gay guy in town? No. Like, it's weird how he just, an episode or two ago, he just went on about it. And then now it's like he's basically taking it all back and doing it himself. Don't you think?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, you were the one who was totally against it. And then now you're good with the only gay guy in town you're going to go after? Okay. Doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to get to know the person.
Right.
Not just jump right to it. I mean, did you like their storyline in this episode?
No, not really.
I mean, think about it. So he invites them to that. What is it? Like, I'm old. What is it?
It's just like a town festival. It's like we didn't really see any acts perform. That was the thing too. But we just saw Henry sing. It's like just I can't think of the name. The biggest thing every year.
Festival.
Coachella. There you go. Yeah, kind of like a Coachella thing, just a lot smaller for Capeside, since it's a small town.
Capeside's version.
Yeah, so basically like that. Like I said, we didn't see any acts. We just saw them all hang out, and it basically was just like a camp episode because there's no acts besides Henry. But he was just like, he wasn't even like one of the acts. Yeah, he was just messing around with his guitar that he brought with him. So,
yeah. So it's weird because, like, where's the guy? Okay, the Ethan. That's his name, right? Ethan. Was he like staying in the tree?
I guess.
Because did you notice?
I think he was. I thought maybe he was using the tree branch as like I don't know, tents, just like something to give it like we had to put the tent over the branch, like to stabilize it or
But
whatever.
it was
I don't know.
he's just like sitting up in the tree.
Yeah, like Tarzan.
Yeah, when Jack comes up.
Yeah.
And then when they come back from their walk. He's like, "Oh, my stuff is gone." I'm like, "But you were up in the tree. It's not like you were in your tent."
Right.
I'm like, I guess I really didn't notice if he even had a tent laying around because he was up in the tree. So like they kind of just put the camera up, you know.
Yeah, because I don't
like
really.
The view was up with him in the tree. It wasn't really with his stuff lying around.
Yeah, you didn't really see anything on
I only
the
noticed
floor or ground.
Him in the tree.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I wasn't surprised that his stuff was gone. I was surprised like everything was gone, but he did walk away. We don't know how long, but they walked away.
Do not walk away from your stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be by. Why couldn't they? Okay, you know they had a walk and talk. Why couldn't they just
do it there?
Yes, so he can watch his stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously Jen is watching her stuff. So why couldn't he watch his?
Right.
And them just talk there.
Yeah, and then apparently that wasn't Ethan's first time even there, so he should have known not to walk away.
There's thieves around, and I was like, there's thieves in Capeside, Capeside. So yeah, but like their story was kind of just I don't know, dull. I don't know because they don't have chemistry, so it was just kind of like definitely like a setup, like just throw these two together.
Yeah,
even though it doesn't make any sense.
And Ethan seems kind of older too.
Well, Ethan was making me mad because, like, Jack was, he's like, oh, like to Jack, how do you know you're gay if you've never kissed a guy? And then, they're going through their walk. And then, Jack invites him to stay in Jen's tent and kicks Jen out. And then it's weird because, like, the guy, they're both in the tent and the guy just goes right to sleep.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, I thought we were going to like stay up and talk a little and get to know each other. And then it's weird because like the next morning, he's like telling Jack, oh, you're not going to ask me for my number?
Yeah.
It's like, but you literally shut him out the night before. And Jack even like brings it up and he's like, well, I was just tired. Okay, if you really like somebody, you don't care how tired you are.
Right.
You're going to want to stay up all night long and talk to the person.
Yeah.
And that will also indicate if you like the person, and you want to be with them is actually spending time with them.
Yeah.
But the fact that Ethan was just playing it so hot and cold, it was so annoying to me.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't like it. And then, so I don't know. I just did not like Ethan in this episode.
Neither, yeah.
But I mean, that's really all their storyline. But I did think it was funny that when they were in the tent right before Ethan went to sleep, and they were talking about Jen and Jack, and he was like, because Jack's like, yeah, we were set up to go to a school, and then Ethan's like, oh, school dance. Oh, is that where, you learned you were gay? And I'm like, no, that's not where Jack learned he was gay, because remember, he kissed Joey, and he was after Joey.
Yeah.
I was like, and Jack kind of played like, yeah, that's when. And I'm like, but Jack, no, it's not. You got punched by Dawson because you liked Joey.
Maybe he was too embarrassed to say that.
I know, but that's like the timeline is that's not really when. Because think about it, he really was interested in Joey.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's not when. But okay. I guess we'll go with it because that's what the writers told us to do.
Yeah, so either way, I think them being friends is good for now, at least.
Yeah. Did you have anything more to say about them?
No, it's just that, forgetting his name, Ethan, he did point out that, when it comes to figuring out your sexuality, it doesn't matter who you sleep with, it's just all about the moments that you have with a person, and I agree. Because sexuality is definitely not black and white. There's a lot of different layers to it that all come at their own pace in their own time. You can't rush anything or you can't force anything, so.
Oh, and then when they were walking, Jack and Ethan.
Yeah.
Ethan's like, oh, like you never talked to a guy before? And Jack's like, yeah, if you count the internet. And he's like, I don't. But he said it like so like ugh. Like when he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
The internet was becoming a thing back then.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Henry and Jen.
Mm-hmm.
And how I don't like Jen in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
No, because she was kind of starting up what she was doing before with him, and he even pointed
Points it
that out.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, I've felt bad for Henry because, he really likes Jen.
Yeah.
And, all she's ever thought of him is this, like, dweeby little freshman. Let's be honest, that's what she's thought. And, she really didn't want to be seen with him, right?
Right.
So she's like, pulled him away. I mean, I think that's what it was. She just didn't want to be seen with him. It's not that it has anything to do with she's pushing him away because she likes him. She just don't want to be seen with the kid because he's a little dorky freshman is what she thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love this episode because we get to see more of Henry and who he is. But my thing, like with Jen, is she is so wishy-washy. I can't stand her because she is the one that, even when we go back to a couple episodes ago, when she went to the dance or that party with him and dragged him along as her date.
Yeah.
We learned things about him then.
Yeah.
And she acted like she was all interested. And then she shut him out. Oh, I don't like you. And then here she's like, well, you didn't tell me, it was about the being a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah.
When she like walks up and sees him, that it was him.
Yeah.
And she was like, and he's like, well, you never asked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
She doesn't ask anything about you. Like, I guess you're just supposed to guess because she doesn't ask because she didn't care to ask. You were just a little dorky freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And she really should have got to know you because obviously she would have liked you. And then, we even then, because then he gets mad at her then. But I did think it was funny when she brought up, oh, can you put my tent together? And he said, you put up your own damn tent.
Yeah, wrote that down too.
I was like, way to go, Henry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he pointed out too how they hadn't even spoken the last month and she didn't even notice.
No, because he was like, you didn't even notice that I have been like ignoring you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just feel so bad. And
yeah,
I just feel for Henry. Like he's just so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, that's what Jen needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's always going after like the bad boys and stuff. And yes, Dawson wasn't a bad boy, but he didn't have much going on either.
Right.
Like Henry is just like the sweetest, lovable guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that that's what she needs, I don't care what his age is, as long as he's not under 15.
Yeah.
Where it'd be like really creepy. But I just can't with Jen because now she's realizing all this about him. And then when we go to, she hears music after Jack kicks her out of the tent.
Mm-hmm.
Then she sees that he is playing guitar and singing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, oh, like, ooh, googly.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jen, get over yourself. Because once again, you didn't want to know anything about the guy, remember? He was just like some little kid after you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what he brings up. And then, she even kind of like brings up like, oh, you didn't really mention that you sing and play guitar. But it's like, again, you didn't want to know anything about him, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're so annoying, Jen. Did you love that he like yelled at her?
Yeah. Yeah, because he was right. She only liked the way that like he would look at her and give her attention and talk about her and everything like that. Even though she didn't feel the same way about him, she just liked having like that validation that she was good enough for someone like him to like her.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because he says, I'm sorry you miss how I looked at you, but I don't miss how you never looked at me.
Right, yep.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was it like hit right in the heart.
Yeah.
Like, he got me.
And I feel like the actor's voice kind of matured a little bit since we last saw him. Because to me, now he sounds like a young Leonardo DiCaprio. And he kind of looks like it too. Just because that was the hairstyle back then.
And he's blonde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if it was like back then, like a few years younger than he was back then, Leonardo. Yeah. Like a younger brother or something.
Yeah, they could play brothers. Yeah, I loved that because I really didn't think Henry had it in him to stand up to Jen, because Jen is, because remember, he was all like, oh, I'm in love with Jen before he even got to know her.
Mm-hmm.
And like would follow her around like a little puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he finally stood up to her, and I'm like, good for you. I love this new Henry.
Yeah. And then she did it.
Well, because she does deserve it.
Yeah.
After the way she's pulled him around,
Mm-hmm.
she deserves getting treated like that.
Yeah. And then she did apologize at the end the next morning. And, she said she doesn't know what it's like to be in love like that, but she'd like to. And if there was anyone younger than the other, it would be her.
Well, because she's acting so immature.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, like, when we first met Henry, he was, like, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't get, like, the words out because he was all in love with her and blah, blah, blah. Well, now, you're right. He definitely has matured.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm loving every minute of it. See, and it's only been a few episodes.
Yeah.
So Jack and Jen were going to sleep in the tent together.
Yeah, I guess.
So I thought it was funny, though, when Ethan's putting up the tent. Do you really think Jack knows how to put up a tent? And that's why they brought Ethan along?
No, I don't think so.
Because think about Ethan's the one now putting up the tent because Jack was stepped away.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny when he was like, could you go away for a couple hours and come back at, midnight?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Jack.
Yeah.
And then she's like, better yet, how about I go back home?
And pick you up in the morning.
Yeah. I was like, good thing, and Jen, I wouldn't want to sleep out in the tent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about it. There's everybody around.
Yeah.
And also, okay, so if they're both in the tent, the guys, where is she supposed to sleep? Is she supposed to come back at midnight?
Yeah, I don't know that.
But Ethan spent the night in the tent.
Yeah, unless they're going to be all cramped together in there.
And there was only room for barely two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a one-person tent.
Yeah, and only had 2 sleeping bags, so.
So where was Jen supposed to sleep?
I know. Like, it's not like well, besides for Henry, but there's no way she could have been with him. So she was basically alone. And, like, either it was, like, sleep in the car or sleep in the sand.
But I don't think Jen has a car.
So did Jack drive them then?
Jack doesn't have a car either.
I don't even know how they got there. Did they walk there? Oh, yeah.
I think they all just walk around town.
But she said pick you up the next morning. Or does she mean Gramps? I don't know.
I don't know. But it was just weird. I'm like, where's Jen's? Okay, she comes back at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
They're sleeping.
Then she's still out of somewhere to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you think the writers picked up on that?
No.
That they wrote come back at midnight, but then in the morning is when Ethan leaves?
Nope, I guess not.
Like it was the dumbest writing because you clearly couldn't tell what you just wrote.
Maybe they originally wanted Jen to like spend the night with Henry, but then decided that they weren't going to get along right away. So I don't know.
I just thought it was messed up. I'm like, how do you not? This is the same episode.
Yeah.
It's not like it's been an episode
Mm-hmm.
where you forgot what happened. This is the same episode. You literally didn't read what you wrote. Aren't you supposed to like proofread?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, not very good.
Mm-hmm. And then the whole Dawson and Nikki thing, how him and Nikki bond over their parents' divorce.
Well, yeah, because Joey was all like, oh, talk to me. Well, because, okay, so starting with all of that is Dawson and Joey walk in and an empty living room.
Yeah.
Is that the living room?
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
Right.
She literally took everything.
I guess everything was hers.
Well, because then she was like, oh, I got it all in the divorce settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then one thing I did not like about Gail was she said, oh, I wanted to be the one to tell you. What you mean is, so what I heard from Gail was, because she's very manipulative of Dawson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Dawson has never yelled at Gail.
Yeah.
It's always Mitch. So my thing was, like, when she said that, I was like, what you mean is you wanted to get to Dawson first so that you could tell your side of the story, and then he'll be mad at Mitch. Because That's what it's always been. Just like when the papers came, he was mad at Mitch because he saw the papers come to Gail. It wasn't like he, it's always been where he's always on Gail's side because Gail is always the first one to reach out to him, or for him to see what's going on. And so I think that was the thing that's how what I got was, no. You just wanted to be the one to suck up and cry like a baby to Dawson that you're now divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can take it out on Mitch because that's what he's been doing, is taking Gail's side and yelling at Mitch. That's the MO with the two of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I heard when she said that. But then Joey was like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" And then what does he say?
That he's glad that it's over and done with, and that he's just still working on his feelings about it, though.
Yeah, and she's like, "No, but seriously, like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you really feel?" So yeah, then Joey was mad because Dawson
Wouldn't talk.
Yeah, and then he's getting close to Nikki. But the thing is, like, Nikki and Dawson are going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you would relate to somebody who's opening up to you about their stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Why is it Dawson went over to Nikki's / Principal Green's house?
Just to talk about the camera, I guess.
I think she already said it straight. She gets the camera for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And also, I have another thing with this.
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody live on the creek?
I guess.
Their house is again on the creek.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, everybody lives on the creek now.
Yeah, Dawson goes over to tell her that as a principal's daughter, it doesn't give her a right to be rude about, what happened to her with the camera, and she doesn't get privileges to do this and that. And he said she didn't know he wanted to use the camera, but he's gonna have to get used to her acting like that. So, and then that's when Mr. Green walks out and invites Dawson to dinner.
Yeah, and I mean, the look on Nikki's face is like, don't agree. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's his principal.
Yeah.
And he's sucking up. So what is he supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, I do agree that, again, she's principal's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to get whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Because teachers are afraid of the principal. Because the principal can fire them.
Yeah.
So any teacher is going to be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Just
like if you're on the school board. People are going to be afraid of, your kids because, they're going to give them whatever they want because they're afraid of losing their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about their job.
Yeah.
And that's the film class.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I do think Nikki's film would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because Mr. Green just assumed that Dawson was there at the house to help Nikki with her film, and
instead of having his own film.
Yeah, and both Nikki and Dawson were like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, and then like when they're eating or whatever, and it's like awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dawson is like principal's pet.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird because like the principal was like, "Oh, you know what Nikki's film is about?" And Dawson's like, "Nope."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't really know Nikki was, like making a film.
Yeah.
And also, I thought it was funny though when there was like, the awkward tension going on between Nikki and Dawson, and then Principal Green's like, "Oh, you guys are like fast friends or whatever," and it was like, I really wouldn't say they're friends.
Yeah.
I find it funny. I mean, I hope that they become friends,
Mm-hmm.
Because they have a love for film.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they can make a film in the future. I thought, I think that would be great if Nikki makes a film and Dawson helps. I'm just kidding. Well, you said it's been like 4 movies. That none of them have been good. So I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to help Dawson by giving him someone who is better than him. And I think it's Nikki. What did you think though, when she ended up telling Dawson what her movie was about? Her parents' divorce.
Yeah. And then
Well, no, but what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean that is a great way to really express how you're feeling and to let it out.
Yeah, but don't you think that her parents are, because her dad is so proud of her, don't you think that her parents are going to be like, really? Like, you made a movie about us?
Yeah. Unless she's not really entirely vague I mean, unless she is vague with it, so
Yeah,
it's not obvious.
and obviously they are, because Principal Green is like all into it. It's like, but it's about you.
Yeah, so.
And also, I mean, so the movie's about them. So what is she gonna do? Lie?
I don't know.
It's about somebody else. Yeah, I was just like, how is your parents gonna take the film being about them?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But so what is the advice or whatever that she gives Dawson with his parents? Or what they talk about?
I just wrote down how that Dawson goes into her room. He goes into her room without permission, first of all.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then,
Awkward.
yeah. So then she sees him, and then he's like, well, I wouldn't known you were into film by just looking at your room.
Oh, by the way, once again,
Mm-hmm.
invades privacy.
Yeah.
Dawson is a creeper.
Yeah. And then Nikki guessed completely right on the nail. I don't know how that phrase is. What is it? Right? Dead on the nail? Something on the nail.
Yeah.
Anyways, she actually guessed that he has Spielberg related things all in his room, and she's right. But then she says it's silly to only focus on one thing. She likes film because it allows her to explore all the other subjects she's interested in. And if you're only into film, you'll only just be making films about other films. And I feel like that's what Dawson does do.
Yeah, but do you think that's true for actual filmmakers?
Not, I don't know. I feel like they do get inspiration from other ones, but
they make it their own.
Yeah, unless you count like all the remakes and stuff, but I would say not really.
Yeah, I'm like, I would say that about Dawson, but I wouldn't say that about every filmmaker.
Yeah.
Because normally they are inspired by something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what they make a film about. So I wouldn't go with filmmakers just make a film about another film. No, that's actually not, I don't think, what really happens.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe sometimes, but not all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then she asks his feelings about his parents, and he ends up saying that it does sneak up on him sometimes, and that it's a disappointment of being a product of something that didn't work out, and that our parents are primary examples of love, and he guesses his example wasn't strong enough. And that's when he got choked up and has to leave. So I think he was like actually able to really process and identify what his feelings were about his whole parents' divorce now. So that's why he got overwhelmed and had to walk away.
Well, and I think too, because Joey hasn't been through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, her dad cheated and stuff, but
Yeah, but we don't know if they ever, officially divorced or got separated or anything.
No, I mean, her dad took care of her mom till the end.
Yeah, so.
That's why he went to prison, was because he was selling drugs or whatever. But, no, I mean, because Joey has never been through, and because he's so close with Joey, talking, actually venting and getting personal to someone else who's going through it helps.
Yeah.
It really does. Because sometimes the closest people you can't open up to.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It happens with death.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone's like, oh, talk to me. It's like, but sometimes you need to talk to a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you're going to find inspiration and open up and be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So I don't always agree that you have to vent to the closest person to you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have that act like, I'm strong. I can get through it. I don't need to talk. But really you do. And I also think having that time between Joey and Nikki, he was able to come to terms with it a little more than when Joey's like, right away, how are you feeling? I mean, it was different than him actually seeing how Nikki was reacting for him to respond and actually open up and think of how he's actually thinking.
Yeah.
Now, if Joey would have given him the time, maybe it would have been her. But also, she didn't go through that, so she can't open up the way Nikki can. And so I think Nikki was the perfect person to get that out of him.
Yeah.
And also, he's finally being vulnerable about something. And it's not about Joey. And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Because all we've ever seen from Dawson is like trying to like be the parent of his parents. And bossing them around, and it's like, no, like, but seriously, like, how are you feeling? So that was nice.
Yeah,
I think Nikki's a good fit for Dawson.
Me too. And then so Dawson goes back home and takes down his posters of all the Spielberg movies that he has, and
now,
Joey.
Do you think he should have done that?
No, that was a bit drastic.
I mean, every poster he's going to take down just because he likes Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
You love Spielberg. You're learning from him. I mean, not a very good job, but you're learning from him. You love his work, so why would you take it down?
He's just having like a quarter life crisis right now with his parents' divorce. He isn't like his whole, even though it's a long time coming, his whole life has been like changed.
But he took the posters down because Nikki said, "Oh, you're a Spielberg, fan guy." Like, as in your whole identity of film revolves around Spielberg, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's his inspiration.
Yeah.
He watches those movies from Spielberg so that he can make his own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Dawson the only thing Dawson needs to do is get better at filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It has nothing to do with who he, inspires to be like.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg is great.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's like downgrading it,
Mm-hmm.
like, really?
Yeah, I don't
He's
think...
like one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just weird to me.
Yeah, I don't think that's how he's taking it, though. It's just his parents' divorce. He feels like...
Yeah, but it came from Nikki.
I know, I'm just saying he feels like he has to change himself.
But she's the one that said it. She's the one that brought it up. So that's where he's tearing everything down and changing his life, all because Nikki brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Which I, again, disagree with.
Yeah.
And again, when I did think it was funny when he was like telling Joey, I'm not that same boy that put the posters up. Dawson, you're still the same boy.
Yeah.
You're never going to change. You're always going to be he's always in the Dawson bubble. He's never going to change from that. So I don't think that he's all of a sudden a changed person because he talked to Nikki and now his parents are going through divorce and now he's a change. No, you're not changed, Dawson. You actually have to change to change.
Mm-hmm.
Or, to be changed. And he hasn't. Just because he has one conversation with somebody doesn't mean he's a changed person.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you are still the same boy that put up those posters. But just my opinion. I mean, do you think he's the same person? And that all of a sudden all of a sudden he is changed?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Now, how did you feel about Joey?
Yeah, she called him a sellout because how first Eve messed with him and now Mickey has made him throw his identity out the window.
Well, did she say something like a tightrope or something that Eve had on him?
Yeah, like tugging at him.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Now, do you agree with Dawson when Dawson says, how did this turn into all about you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that line.
Yeah, because Joey said that, she gets mad how Dawson opened up to Nikki about his parents when she tried to have him open up to her earlier. And that Dawson tells Joey how she attacks him whenever he's interested in another girl, but he never asks about AJ. And Joey says him not asking might be worse than attacking. I didn't agree with that.
I did think it was funny when he said, Mr. Ivy League.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so you do have a nickname for him.
Yeah.
Like, so you really are against it.
Yeah.
It's just, you're not saying it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, too, guys don't express themselves. So, Joey going off on him about whether it was whether it was Jen,
mm-hmm.
Eve, or Nikki,
mm-hmm.
That's, I feel like, what girls mostly do.
Yeah, teenage ones at least.
They use their words
mm-hmm.
and lash out, where I think guys hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
And, they might be standoff. Like, if him and AJ are ever in the same room, he might be standoffish with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, there's that. Like, they're two different people. And again, girls are different. Girls will tell you, mostly what's on their mind,
mm-hmm.
which I think guys don't like.
Yeah, teenage ones at least. Yeah.
So it's like, no. So for him, he's not going to bring up Mr. Ivy League because that's not what he does.
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy who doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they just start yelling at each other, and Joey tells him out with the old, in with the new, meaning out with her and in with Nikki and Dawson's life.
But, so who do you think's wrong, Dawson or Joey?
I think Joey did overreact a bit with the Nikki part, at least, about, her replacing Joey in Dawson's life. Because it was just this one topic that he opened up to her about. It wasn't like...
his whole life.
Yeah, like everything that's happened in the last decade or so With him and Joey was just automatically erased like that.
Well, and like, I think Joey was in the wrong too. Like, I agree with her when it comes to, like, you're throwing your old life away because of her. Yeah. Like, I agree with that because he did. He had one conversation with her and he's taken all the posters down. Like, that is dramatic. But I disagree, and I think she's wrong for reacting the way she did just because he opened up to Nikki about his parents' divorce. Like, yes, he couldn't talk to you, Joey, because you don't know what it's like. Just like you always say how nobody knows what it's like because, you know, your mom died. Like, he could argue, you don't. And I kind of wish he would have. Like, your parents didn't go through divorce. So you don't know what it's like. Nikki did. Yeah. You know, I feel like, why couldn't he say that?
Maybe because he was just too mad that I don't know, he didn't seem like he really wanted to get into it too much. I don't know.
But don't you kind of wish he would have? Because she was irritating me.
Yeah.
I was like, please, Dawson, just throw it back at her like she does every time to you. Whenever she's mad about something, she throws that in your face. Like when you're mad at your mom about, you know, cheating, she goes, well, at least you have a mom. Like, that, they're totally different. Well, you can be mad about your mom cheating. Yeah. You can't, but as a friend, you shouldn't just always throw in, well, at least you have one. So you need to make up. He needs to make up just because your mom is gone. It's still something big. Right. So again, what he's going through, she doesn't understand. But again, he's not the one in her face, and he should have. I just wish for once he would just throw it in her face. Yeah. Because you know what? She deserved it. Every second of it. Yeah. And then they do make up at the end because she comes back with the John Lennon poster. And okay, so I did find it funny when he shut his window. But I'm telling you, the boy needs to lock it. Yeah. And again, he has no screen on his window. But then all of a sudden he's laying on his bed and and then the window's open again.
Yeah, I don't know why that was, but
well, obviously it's because she crawls through the window again. But I'm just like, seriously? The window is open? Yeah. And also, was that Gail's only scene in this episode? Like her packing up the house? Yep. Isn't it kind of like, I don't know, just kind of like useless for the actress? Like, here's one little scene. We're going to just have you have the empty living room and just say the divorce is final kind of in her own way. And then that's it.
Yeah, it was just set up for Dawson's whole plot in this episode.
I don't know, but it was just kind of weird. I'm like, so she's in one little scene. Yeah. Okay. We could use her for more, but let's just throw her in for this little scene.
Yeah, and then Dawson, you know, back in his room, Joey gives him the poster and reminds him that before film he wanted to make music, and just to remind him that he's not only interested in films, and that, and then she apologizes because she says even when she gets jealous, she still hears him, and he says he hears her too. So Joey tells him it's okay if he doesn't want to share everything with her all the time, but to promise her that he'll keep sharing it with someone. And then he asks her to give him a hand putting up the poster. So I thought it was, you know, that was nice of her to say after she calmed down and realized she overreacted.
After she calmed down.
Yeah, because, you know, but they were both, you know, mad, but she was more mad at him.
She started it.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just nice how she said that you've always walked your own path, Dawson. You just need to widen it a little bit. So I like that.
Yeah. One thing about Jack. Yeah. When in the morning, and I guess I really didn't notice it, probably because he had that sweatshirt on or whatever the day before, but he has a lost dog shirt on.
Like a picture of a poster of a lost dog?
It just said lost dog, and it was a dog. And I was like, why does Jack have a lost dog shirt on?
I didn't even notice. Like, did it look like a real one, like a fake makeup one?
Sure. All I saw was lost dog, and I couldn't. Like, it took me out of the scene. Why does he have a lost dog shirt?
I don't know. You always know it's a clothes. I don't.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't really notice it before because he had that vest sweater shirt thing on, so I didn't notice it. Yeah. Until the next day. But that was just my thought for Jack. So did we wrap up that one?
So the
Ooh,
last plot.
No, not the last. It is the last for this episode, but in my opinion,
It's the best one.
It's, you know how there's like an A storyline, B.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this
This
was
is A.
storyline A.
Yep.
It's the play.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Even though the title is about the festival.
Oh, shut up. Festival. I didn't care for the festival though.
Yeah, they didn't really show any of it, so
Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so for me this was storyline A.
Yeah.
And it probably, I'm sure the storyline was probably about Dawson, but you know what? It wasn't for me. Because it's never about Dawson. But let's just talk about the play. What did you think of Andie wanting to be the assistant director?
Well, it was random. She never really shown interest before.
Did you know that in school plays they let students be assistant directors?
No. I mean, I didn't really think about it, but
I was like,
do they?
Hmm?
Do they? Because you were in drama.
No. I had theater class, and my teacher was, as you would call the director.
Mm-hmm.
There was no such thing as...
There's nobody helping them?
Everybody helped.
But not like Andie was.
No.
Or to a small degree.
Nobody bossed us around but him.
Yeah.
No. That did not happen. He didn't ask anyone in the class, anybody want to be my assistant? No, It was, if he needed something, he was going to ask whoever's around to help.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like backstage people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the crew, or, the cast.
Yeah.
And like for the first play we did, we were all in it. But if we had a little part, we were backstage, which I made sure that I was backstage because I didn't want to be in the play.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like one line.
Yeah.
But I was in it because it was like a musical, so we were in it a lot of the times because we were singing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like the townspeople, so we were in it a lot because it was Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
And I was just a village girl. But there was no such thing as assistant director. But I will say, going to our middle school play, we did have like high schoolers come over and kind of like help with probably, backstage and stuff and sets and all of that, because obviously we were too little.
Mm-hmm.
And there was two people doing the play. So you may have said one was director and one was assistant, but again, they were both adults.
Mm. Okay, yeah.
So again, they weren't throwing someone our age yelling or telling us what to do as one of our peers.
Mm-hmm.
That did not happen.
Yeah.
So for us, it wasn't realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what other schools did. I just know for us, and they probably did it that way so that our peers couldn't judge us and yell at us.
Right, yeah.
Because,
that would have been right, yeah.
Yeah, it'd have been like, Andie doesn't like me, and Andie's, because Andie could have done that.
Yeah.
If she didn't like somebody. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably why they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, it's like another teacher or something. It's not, And we did have a parent that was in charge of our wardrobe. But again, she wasn't in charge of the play.
Mm-hmm.
She was in charge of the wardrobe. And then when it came to like hair and makeup, like everybody kind of like participated and like did each other's.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it was like a group effort kind of thing. It wasn't solely on one student.
Yeah.
Like Andie.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, in this play, the whole set designs, it's like, what, Andie?
Yeah.
What? Again, that wouldn't be realistic because for us, it was always like a team effort. And then again, our teacher was in charge of if it looked right or not. So it was never up to truly one person, our peer.
Yeah.
But I did think it was funny when she ran up to the teacher, and again, new teacher and another old guy.
Mr. Broderick.
What's his name?
Broderick.
Broderick.
Yeah.
I just kept saying the
or
teacher.
Mr. B. Yeah.
Mr. Teacher. So he just became the teacher. But it was funny though because Andie was like going on and on about the play, and he was like, "Okay, you want to be the lead?" Like he wasn't listening to anything.
Yeah.
Because she did say assistant director. Like he didn't listen to a word she said, and then he took the paper from her and walked away. I was like, well, he's sweet.
And like he said, why didn't you just say so? She was doing that the whole time.
All she was doing was talking.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that he's the director teacher person.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really seem like a theater person.
Right.
And he's a jerk. It doesn't seem like he likes any of the students.
Yeah.
And one of the smart students you're being mean to. So, again, lousy teacher alerts going on between Mr. Peterson, this one, Nikki. We really haven't seen a good teacher on this show. Miss Jacobs was bad. It's like, can we get a good teacher?
Yeah.
Because this show isn't showing any good ones. Okay. What did you think of the auditions before Mr. Pacey showed up?
Really bad.
Okay. When the teacher says, I'm starting to get a migraine, I was laughing. I was like, so am I. These auditions are terrible.
Yeah.
Did it remind you of Dawson's auditions?
Yeah, for the most part. But it just reminded me too, in general, other movies like High School Musical, Pitch Perfect with their auditions because they were all bad as well. So, like, some were just over dramatic, some were just like monotone, like weren't giving enough energy. So just all over the scale of talent and no talent.
Well, isn't it always kind of funny because, like, for like High School Musical, when they had the callbacks, if everybody was so bad, why do you need a callback?
Well, no, because the callbacks were with, Sharpay, Ryan, and Troy and Gabriella because they were good. They needed to re-audition again to compare.
They were all playing different people, though.
No, they were going for the same lead roles.
Well, how would we know? They never finished. They never finished it. It was like Dawson's Creek. They don't finish a thing.
Yeah, we didn't actually see the play that they were auditioning for.
I thought it was funny. There was like this thing on Facebook or Twitter or something that I saw, and it was like, it's called High School Musical, but they never actually showed us the musical or finished it or anything. It was the callback, and that was it. And I was like, when you actually think about it, it's actually true.
Yeah, I saw that a while back too.
I was like, why would you call it High School Musical and you don't even finish it? That's true.
Yeah.
It's kind of like all Dawson's movies, though. Don't actually get to see the finished product.
Nope. Only glimpses, if anything.
Yeah. So then the teacher is, so Andie, little Miss Andie, she's in there all interested because this guy gets up there and just starts
doing somewhat of a decent job. Yeah.
And do you think she was all interested because she liked the guy? Like, she thought he was cute? Because all of a sudden, she, like, perked right up.
No, I think because he was the least bad out of all of them that she's seen so far. And I think he's probably the last one auditioning. That's why she was, like, so determined to let him, be the lead or whatever. But, the director was like, oh, I have somebody else in mind. So she was just nervous that what the director had in mind was just going to be worse than everybody that they've already seen. So
yeah, so the teacher was like, oh, I have someone already in mind. He's like funny, deplorable. And the student's ethics are like of a billy goat. I was like, what? What? Yeah. And then of course it's Pacey. And I'm like, I can't. Like, I have no words for that comment. Do you?
No, I don't even know what it means.
Me? That was my question to you. What does all that mean?
That he's just fine and everything else. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
Because he's talking about Pacey. Pacey is funny, yes, but none of those other things. Talking about, like, his ethics.
Yeah. I don't think he even knows Pacey that well enough to even determine that.
Pacey is always, like, when it comes to, like, his moral ethics, they're always in the right place.
Yeah.
If he does something bad, he always has a reason. It's not, he's just like some stupid kid. His morals are always right.
Yeah.
So I did not agree with that. I mean, what, because he's funny and doesn't do his homework? Who cares?
Right.
It doesn't mean that's who he is.
Yeah, so Annie doesn't like this, and she tries to get Pacey to quit. And then she tries to quit. But then, Pacey wouldn't let her because he says that they need her, because Mr. B just kind of ditches rehearsal, so she has to lead it and do all the work. And then he comes back, takes the credit for how good the students are and everything.
So, you're skipping a whole bunch.
Yeah, I know. I was like turnaround, but during the rehearsal that he missed.
Yes. So first, though, they're going through the run through, and the teacher is telling Pacey how to do it, and like to be like dramatic or whatever. And then Andie is like, no, like you're playing it good. And then he's like telling Andie, the teacher is like, oh no, like listen to me. And then, you know, at that one point, he told Andie to basically don't think or something like that. He sees a look on his face.
Yeah.
Because he's so protective of her that even though he's the ex, he was like, no. You're not going to talk about her like that. And so he did it all dramatic, but he did it the way that the teacher didn't really like. And I thought it was funny because he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Because Andie starts laughing. And he did it because the teacher, he did not like how the teacher was treating Andie. And it was nice to see.
Yeah.
And also then the teacher's late. So Pacey was like, oh, like, let's, you know, Andie, you know, you can be in charge and, you know, direct. And then, yeah, that's when the teacher comes in and takes the credit. And I'm like, what is up with this teacher taking the credit?
I know.
It was not his ideas. And the whole time, Pacey is like, he's like, no, Andie did this. Andie was here. Andie. And the guy just hears none of it. And that's the thing. If you hear none of what Pacey's saying, how could you even judge Pacey? You don't even know him because anything he does say, you clearly don't listen to. So basically, whatever you say about anybody is meaningless.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear a word anybody says. And then even like, wasn't it like the set drawing or something? And he was like, oh, who did this? And then it was like, oh, Andie. And he's like, oh, I did such a good job at it or whatever. And he's like, oh, I love that I did this. And it was like, but once again, you didn't do anything. You barely showed up.
Yeah. Well, it was the set design too. And he said that he wanted it to be simple, and he says, well, he changed his mind and to change it, but you know, it's kind of last minute, so she tries to tell him that it's too late. He just tells her to just follow orders.
Yeah, I did not like that. And then that's when she runs out. And then that's when Pacey goes after her. Now, did you like that he went after her?
Yeah. It reminded me of the time when at the election, and he did the same thing when Abby was talking about her mom.
And I will say that when Pacey and Andie are going back and forth about quitting, Andie was being mean because Pacey literally just said in that part when, you know, she was like, well, you quit. And he said, but I'm going to get a C for this. And C is obviously a passing grade. We all know that. So, and Andie was always so concerned about his grades, right?
Yep.
So why would she say, no, quit? Even after he says that he's going to get a C, she still tells him to quit.
Just because she doesn't want to be.
I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
If you care at all about him, as you claim you're in love with him, remember the past, couple episodes, remember she said she was all in love with him, trying to get him back. Why would you want him to quit? He is going to pass whatever grade or whatever class this is. You should be happy.
Yeah, well, she says she joined.
I don't care. Okay, who's more important in this? Pacey's grade or Andie trying to get away from Pacey?
Yeah, she's just thinking of herself right now.
I know, but for you, what is more important? Pacey passing or Andie keeping herself away from Pacey? Which one's more important?
Of course, Pacey is.
Okay, then she should shut up. Like, she's wrong in this. Do you think she's wrong?
Yeah, like I said, she is just being selfish because she's using the play to get over Pacey. That's why she doesn't want to see him.
But you should quit. No, I'm with him. Like, if it's such a big problem, because Pacey's not having a problem with her being around. So I agree. If I'm not having a problem and you are, then you should quit. I agree with him.
Yeah. And then at the rehearsal, too, when Mr. B isn't there, we see a quick cameo by somebody that was from another 90s show.
Yes. Minkus.
Lee Norris.
Yes.
I thought he would actually have more speaking lines than that because I feel like he would have been like
because he went from playing Minkus.
Yeah, like he would have had a bigger role in the show, but it was just that one scene I think he said something. We don't even know what character he was playing. It's just
Pacey and he's just like a
Lori.
Student.
Yeah.
He's like student one or something.
But it was nice to see him again in something. And then
because it was obviously filmed in the 90s and aired in 2000, but it's the 2000 now.
Yeah.
Well, because remember he came back for the episode in don't ask me what season of Boy Meets World, when they graduated. It was I don't know what
I don't even know
5,
either.
But when they graduate, and then they're like, oh, where have you been?
Yeah. It's like the other side of school.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. And then, too, we forgot to mention that Jack and Jen do end up catching up at the end of the festival, and they, Jack talks about Ethan, and Jen doesn't say she talked to Henry, but she gives little hints at it. So I was kind of surprised she just didn't tell him.
Well, he said, is it someone that I know?
Yeah.
Because he's like, what's changed since we talked last?
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, maybe, maybe it's somebody that you know.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree, going back to the Henry and Jen,
Mm-hmm.
I do agree that when, and I think it was like Henry that said, like about how Jen doesn't know him. Yeah, well, I think we've established, Jen doesn't know anything about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I was kind of surprised that the play was lasting more than an episode too. Because at the end we just know that they're
Doing a
Andy and
play.
Casey are both staying. Yeah, I thought like we would have like seen them put on the show or not. So
I mean, I wish this episode just was about the play.
yeah.
Because that was more interesting than everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have easily done that if they wanted. And like everybody else like help on the crew doing something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, Dawson could be filming it.
Mm-hmm.
Good place for him to be, right?
Yeah, or else I'm thinking that he probably would have ended up making Andy mad trying to direct the thing too. So
yeah, they both could have been. Then the teacher really would have been mad,
having
another student telling him what to do.
Yep.
So I think that's the whole episode.
Yep.
So what is your highs and lows?
The low is just Jen, trying to like kind of playing with Henry again, and then the high would be like Pacey really getting into the acting that he was kind of forced to do for his grade, because he is funny, so he can probably use that towards
you
something.
think he's funny?
Yeah, I've said that before with his remarks.
I love him. So for me, the high would be the play. The low would be, honestly, what was happening at the storyline A, which for them was the Cape Fest. Nothing really happened.
Right.
The only thing I liked was that I got to see Henry playing a guitar and singing. Other than that, I could have had all that cut out. It was all meaningless to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, they should have shown at least one act that was supposed to be there. So.
And not Henry. I loved that we got to see that.
Yeah, it was just like a camping episode for them, really.
Right, but it was just so stupid. And again, it wasn't I would have loved a whole camping episode of the whole cast camping. Yeah. Wouldn't it have been more fun to have the whole group camping and then they all start fighting or something? Having that drama instead of two out of the 6 are going camping. And then we have, again, they're all split with storylines. We have these two. Then we have Andie and Pacey on their storyline of the play. And then we have Dawson and Nikki, but then we have Joey having the smallest part of the show, which is being mad. Again, they're all broken up. All 3 of these storylines could have been 3 different episodes.
Yeah, they could have been, yeah.
Why didn't they do it that way?
I don't know, maybe they had more planned after this and wanted to keep
Yeah, I know what's happening. It's boring. So why couldn't you just, again, I didn't need the camping one where they camp out for the fest. Give me something to watch. Maybe I would have liked it better. But for me, that was storyline C. Can you believe I actually liked Dawson and Nikki's better than I liked the fest?
No. Christ.
But nothing happened.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't like how Jen was treating Henry, so I didn't care for any of it.
Yeah.
And we got nothing resolved between Jack and Ethan.
Right.
I learned nothing.
Except just being friends, but that wasn't really
what Jack wanted.
Yeah.
So it's like I learned nothing from that either. It was all pointless.
Yeah.
I feel like theirs was the filler. Even though it was supposed to be probably the biggest story, for me, it was the filler story. So what would you rate it?
Like a 7.
Me too. Then your best and worst.
Best is Henry.
What?
Yeah,
you didn't pick Pacey?
No, I just...
I mean, you said he was your high.
Yeah, but I just like seeing Henry stand up for himself to Jen about everything. And then the same plotline. But Ethan as the worst because he was just stringing along Jack the way he was and then just ended up wanting to be friends at the end. So.
I'm shocked.
And yours?
I'm shocked. For me, the worst was the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
I could not stand that. The way he was treating Andie, and then what he said about Pacey, and then taking all the credit for the whole play. Oh, no. And yes, there's some people that I didn't like, Ethan, Joey. But no, the teacher takes all the credit for the worst. And then for me, the best was Henry. I loved, because, okay, Henry just loves Jen, right? And so to see him stand up to her, which I never thought he would do. And then, obviously, at the end, he has to, make up with her because Henry can't stay mad at her. Even though I wanted it to go on a little longer. But I just loved it because he finally stood up to her. I loved it. And you know what? He had every right to. Everything he said I agreed with. There was nothing he said that I didn't agree with. And he's just so sweet. So for me, he outshined everybody in this episode. Can't believe I didn't say Pacey.
Yeah, a little bit.
What really did he do? He tried standing up for Andie, but that was it. I had Henry outshining. Then he was singing, and I was just all into him in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what is the next episode called?
Episode 12, A Weekend in the Country.
Hopefully it's better than this one.
Yeah. Almost sounds like another camping episode.
Right? Or what is it? Weekend in the Country.
Yeah, Weekend in the Country, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to wish everyone, and I'm sure you do too, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yes, and we will see you next time.
Yep, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.